So we're back again with the HOOA podcast. I think this is a celebratory number. It's number 20, and I have a special guest. Tyler is on. You must have seen him for his explosive energy on the timeline. That's exactly why I brought him on, so he can introduce himself in whatever fashion you'd like to.
I appreciate it, Jeffrey. And number one, thank you so much for having me, brother. I've been a fan of yours on the timeline. You're one of the first guys I discovered on there
Thank
on
you very
Twitter.
much.
That I loved your energy on there, your passion, how you love helping people make people better too,
Yeah.
and that was really drawing me in. So I appreciate being here, man. It's an honor. Yeah, my name's Tyler Todt. I'm 37 years young, father of three, happily married guy, man. I've been through a lot in my life. Was kind of on this other side of I used to choose to be very low energy, complaining, victimhood kind of mindset, and that all changed about 4 years ago, man. And now I just feel like I'm living
Mhm.
my best life every single day, connecting with great people and living really high energy,
Mhm.
enthusiastic, zestful life, man.
Yeah, because that's exactly how we like pre-recording, how we started off. That you said every morning when you wake up, it's a choice to have this energy that you have. Like it's a conscious decision. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, I really 100% believe that. I think that's the greatest thing about being a human being, right? Is that
Hmm.
any time that I choose, I can reset my mindset. I can reset my day. I can choose to, hey, that's in the past. I'm springing forward with high energy here. Like my
Yeah.
first mentor was told me, Tyler, was it a bad 5 minutes or was it a bad day? Or was it a bad 5 minutes that you let ruin the day, or was it a bad day? It's your choice from what happens to how you proceed. And so
Hmm.
I'm really big into waking up every morning. I have a morning routine that I've done 3 years now. Every single day starts the same way, where I kind of pour into myself and
Hmm.
visualize myself being this super high energy dad,
Hmm.
husband, worker, father, pour into other people kind of energy.
Tell us a little bit about this morning ritual because it's like almost like morning ritual porn on the timeline. They're all quite similar, but do feed the fans. I'm sure they want to hear that.
That is very true, man. Win the morning, win the day, right? So I
Yeah.
wake up every day. Right now it's at 4:55. My alarm goes off, and I got a little wrist thing so I don't wake my wife up. And I spring out of bed. I never snooze. That's number one. Stack that first
Mhm.
win. Get right out of bed, man. I hate snoozing. I'll never snooze ever. No, I don't care if I went to bed at 3 o'clock in the morning. I will get up on that first alarm. I
Yeah.
never snooze.
Yeah.
And then I
That's
chug
good.
2 waters right away. And as I'm chugging my 2 ice cold waters, I pull out a journal and I just instantly write down like 10, 15 things I'm really grateful for the day.
Yeah.
My health, my body, my children, my home, all these things.
Hmm.
And then I
Yeah.
just spend a minute or two kind of in prayer, visualization, whatever you want to call it, meditate. And I just
Hmm.
think over those things, how blessed I am. I tell myself how blessed I am. I say a few things out loud. And then I just picture myself being that dad, that high energy guy. And then I go work out really hard.
That's
And then
good
I feel
to
like
know.
that just sets me up to
Yeah.
have a
Yeah.
great day, man.
Definitely. Definitely. Your morning ritual has a lot in common with mine. I do almost the same. These days,
Yeah.
I don't prefer like the alarm anymore because it kind of like disrupts your sleep, like the dreamy wonderland, and then suddenly into reality, right? So I like to let the sunlight like wake me up, natural sunlight. Like it can get annoying in the winter. Then you can buy one of those yellow light alarms. Like then it goes with an alarm and it wakes you up, and then you just roll out of bed, do some push-ups, like you said, and some
Nice.
water and journaling. I do the same actually. Like my first something that I must have in the day is like the prayer visualization aspect, like the meditation session. So
Yeah, I think that's so critical, man, to
yeah,
win the day. I think that's nothing's more critical than that.
yeah,
I,
yeah.
I
Go
would
ahead.
wake up without an alarm clock if it wasn't for my wife and kids, but I feel like it's important with the family to get up and get that done before they
Yeah,
wake up.
that's very true. Like a patriarch, like a leader.
Exactly. That's exactly how I feel about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You
But
mentioned earlier like prayer. Like, do you have like a religious background or?
yeah, I grew up like in a Christian church, going to church with my family. But I wouldn't say it really became my own faith until about 4 or 5 years ago. When I went off to college, I decided I liked partying and alcohol and
Sure.
girls more than I liked going to church. So I kind of left that behind for
Yeah.
for a decade or so, and then really refound it back as my own personal faith. I don't really. I like to tell people all the time I don't really like religion, to be honest. I don't
Okay.
like all the rules of what religion brings, but
Hmm.
I'm a Christ follower is how I identify myself. I
Yeah.
just I think Jesus Christ came to live and set a great example of how we
Hmm.
should live. And then my faith is very personal and based around that. And my faith shouldn't look like yours. Yours shouldn't look like mine. I'll never judge anybody else's faith. I think it should be a
Hmm.
really personal,
Yeah.
deep thing that we all seek all the time.
Yeah. You don't like label it then as like religious more so, but would you categorize yourself as like a spiritual person, or how do you see that?
I would say I'm a Christian. I mean, we go
Okay.
to Christian church, but
Hmm.
I don't like a lot of the labels that people put on that is, well, you can't come to church if you're this, or you can't come
Oh,
here for
okay.
that. And we
Yeah.
go to a very, like, what I would say, progressive church where
Hmm.
our preacher says all the time, like, look, we should have people smoking pot in the bathroom here. Like, we
Yeah.
want
Yeah.
everybody in. We should have, like, we're not the kind of church that's like we have a big prison ministry where we go
Yeah.
there and we talk. Like we shouldn't be excluding people. And I feel like people get faith a lot wrong in that. Where, hey, it's like, hey, if you get yourself all nice and neat, then you can come to church. It's like, nah, we're all broken. We're all trying to become a better version of ourselves. Let's invite everybody into that.
Yeah.
So that's how I feel about
Yeah.
faith and
And
religion.
you constantly mention like a certain path that you're on versus now. How do you see
Yeah.
your personal religion playing a role into that? Like, how key was it for you? Can you describe a little bit about that?
I would say really huge, man. I mean, I had a really unique experience. I don't know if you know this or not, but like I was in college at 20, and then I discovered I had a really unique talent to be really good at poker.
Okay.
And I
No,
made
I
it
didn't know
made it
this.
and I made a ton of money,
Shit.
like seven figures off of poker by the time I was like 25, 26 years
That's
old.
cool, man.
And so, dude, I traveled the whole world for like 4 years. I always had, different girls and different buddy. I just took an entourage wherever I went, and we partied and we lived that kind of lifestyle for like 4 or 5 years. And I like to say it as I captained my own ship. And I always thought to myself, I could buy my way to happiness, or
Sure.
I tried everything on the earth to make me happy, but I never had any like deep fulfillment. I had
Yeah.
a brand new Mercedes Benz, a
Yeah.
6,000 square foot house, everything the world would tell you would want to make you happy, but I couldn't sleep at night.
Yeah.
These things kept me up. I didn't
Yeah.
have any
Something inside.
contentment.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was missing. And so that was the piece for me. And I kind of realized over the time that life's kind of counterintuitive now. I realized the less I focus on making myself happy, and the more I just focus on like giving back and pouring into other people,
Mhm.
the happier, more fulfilled that I am.
Yeah. That's pretty dope. Yeah. Because like these days you see a lot of young men who are a little bit lost. There's something definitely in the ether, the society, you have the pandemics, the shutdowns, the lockdowns, whatever. But it's definitely everybody has a way of phrasing it, but they're missing something. And you felt that as well, like intuitively, or like you saw things happen, or yeah.
Yeah, I was pretty broken. I would say I went through a period of life where I got married to a girl that I met here in Vegas, and then that lasted a couple years. And she called me one day and just said, I'm cheating on you, and it's over. And at
Yeah.
that time, I think I weighed like 149 pounds. I had no muscle. I was just like this skinny, fat little guy who tried to
Yeah.
find his worth in money and things and stuff. And so
Yeah.
that kind of really broke me down, and I had to kind of build myself back up from there and realize, okay, what do I really want out of life? Not what other people or society tells me is going to make me happy. What do I want? And then that was the
Yeah.
start of the journey for me.
Yeah, like shifting from the external validation to like an internal locus of focus. Yeah.
That's yeah, perfectly said, man. Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah, and in which age period was this, give or take? Because I experienced similar things, and I can imagine young people listening to this have something like this as well.
I was maybe 28, 29 when we got divorced, something like
Yeah.
that. And then I probably spent the next 2 years just on and off, like,
Yeah.
nightclubs, drinking uncontrollably, other substances,
Yeah. Yeah.
just try to make myself quote unquote happy.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it always led to misery, man. I mean, I
Yeah.
remember I had a pretty sick, like high rise condo in Chicago.
Sure, that's cool.
It's like 30 some floors up, man. And like after the party was over and everybody went home, dude, I'd just like cry myself to sleep some nights.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
nobody would know that because I was like Tyler life of the party, like fun guy.
Yeah.
Something was always really missing.
Yeah. It's like you see in some movies or stories. It's the Great Gatsby vibe a little bit, you know? They see him as like the party dude, but in the meantime, he's looking in to like a glass. He's looking outside into a wall, you know? Yeah.
And do you kind of feel like too, like because I'd become that person for so long, and that's what other people expected of me.
Sure.
And so then it felt like sometimes life was almost running me instead of me making intentional decisions around my life. It was like, well, I'm Tyler, the party guy, so I don't even feel like drinking. I want to better my health,
Yeah.
but damn, this is who I am. You know?
Yeah, and
And
that's tied to your
I got lost into
identity a
that
little
trap.
bit. That's that
Exactly.
trap with forming habits. I read that like plug for James Clear. Like if you tie it into like your identity, these habits will stick. And if you want to replace them or lose them, you must create a new identity. Like for example, I'm a person who goes to church, and then you will stick all the other habits that are tied to that, and from the habits will come new thought patterns and all kinds of other actions and emotions.
Yes, I probably have 25 pages of notes on James Clear Atomic Habits, man. I love that book. So yeah, make identity-based habits. It's one of the biggest things. And when I started to turn my life around, I started telling people.
Sure.
He talks about using like social pressure too.
I
I started telling people like, hey, I'm gonna change my life. I'm gonna get into fitness. Like I'm gonna eat healthy. I'm gonna go to church. I'm gonna do these things. You know. Yeah, it was a big that book was a big catalyst for changing my life, man.
It's funny that social pressure definitely works. When I used to be like a marathon runner, I had like a huge mouth back then. I told almost everybody in my vicinity, but then I got a little bit sloppy, and it was like a month was due or something, and I wasn't really training. And people then like almost came knocking on my door, like at birthday parties or house parties. Hey, have you been training? And I was like, fuck, I hadn't been training. And all was well that ends well. I ran it. It went pretty well. You know, went good.
Nice. How many marathons have you run?
I ran two.
Nice.
One in
Sick, man.
2017, one in 2018, and the second one was good for time. 4 hours and 15 minutes. So.
Oh man, that's
after that I stopped.
Man.
So I'm focusing now on like calisthenics, weightlifting, and stuff like. It makes you really. You lose so much fucking calories, you know. It's a different lifestyle. That's why.
100. My dad's really into running. He's probably run 15 marathons or something, and probably 100 half marathons. Yeah. He was always training like when we were growing up. And yeah, man, you got to eat. So, dude, when you're going for 21-mile training runs, like you got to eat like crazy, man.
Because you burn like a half marathon, 500 calories or something. If you go really far, it's 1,000 calories. So you become scrawny fast, and you have to cut down on some shit.
Do you still run quite a bit?
No, not a lot these days anymore. To be honest, like I went into like a lifting phase. Then I'm like almost like no cardio kind of bro type, you know. But I do feel when I climb the steps, I need to do some shit. So I've been getting back into like some HIIT movements, jumping rope, going on long hikes, a little bit like adding some cardio into it.
Yeah, that's what I do. I don't really run. I hate running, but like we do hikes constantly. I do 6, 7, 8 miles of walking every day, and like jump things like that I enjoy, man. You know, because I'm not a big runner either. I never have
been. Like you mentioned, like books like James Clear. Like, what's on your nightstand right now? What kind of guy? What kind of reader are you right now?
Oh man. So I'm going through actually studying the Bible with one of my boys off of Twitter. I love this guy. We're doing an Isaiah study. So once every like week, we read 4 or 5 chapters. We break those down together, talk about how like, you know, affected us personally, how we can kind of use that. So that's one thing. I'm rereading Goggins' book. I got a couple chapters left. Can't Hurt Me. Have you read this book?
Yeah.
Oh, dude, I can't read it before bed though, bro. It fires me up so much. Like,
yeah. It's if you read it, you get like on fire. You shouldn't like touch it. Yeah.
I've been reading it for a couple months, and I'm like only have a couple chapters left, and I'm rereading it again, but I'm going through and taking more notes on it this time and stuff like that. And it's that book was a big thing too. The accountability mirror, man. You talk about like morning routine. I'm not as religious about it as I was, but there was a period for about 1.5 years where every morning, part of my morning routine, I would stand in front of my bathroom mirror and tell myself who I was. You know, I'm a man of integrity. I'm a man of discipline. You know. Now I say those things when I need them or other times, but I was really big into learning from him quite a bit, man.
Yeah. Have you checked out his audiobook?
Dude, everybody tells me that I need to do that. I have not yet, but I need to do
actually, there's a funny thing. Like, you know Jocko Willink?
Oh yeah, Extreme Ownership was a book that changed my life too.
Yeah, when he was really new, he only had one social media, which was Twitter. So Jocko Willink is the reason I got on Twitter. I just made an account, and he was the only person that I followed. And David Goggins is the reason why I got Audible, just to listen to that audiobook, because people kept keeps saying it to me as well. And I think somebody overheard me on my phone or something. You know what I mean? It keeps a tap on you. And I saw like a commercial, then I thought, you know what? I'm gonna like pull the plug, pull the trigger. So I listened to it. I thought, oh, okay, I can imagine why they liked it so much, because like there are these cool little interviews in between where Goggins comes on and then he discusses the chapter. So it just really fleshes out a little bit, Yeah.
That's awesome, man. I've had many people tell me that, and that's something that I'm going to do. Is like next time I reread the Goggins book, I'm just going to do it on Audible because
Yeah.
I have a list of like 5 or 6 books I tend to reread. Take more notes on them and stuff every couple of years. That's one of them.
That's really cool. Do you have like a theme for the year which you reread, or is it like a list do you have? Or
Atomic Habits I will reread every year, to be honest. I feel like that book is that good where I can always find new things, and it's good to refresh yourself on that. And it really, nothing's more critical in our life than our daily routines, habits, systems, those things. I feel like you can always be improving on that.
Sure, that's true.
I'm not as like structured around that hey, I'll do this every 2 years, every 3 years. It's more just kind of feel it in the flow. That's what I'm gonna do.
Yeah. What are these other secret books that you're rereading? Or
I wouldn't say secret books. Rich Dad Poor Dad was a great one.
Yeah,
I don't know if you've read that or not, but man, that was when you start learning about passive income and how that can set you free, man. I mean, it's I quit my corporate job 4 or 5 months ago, and big reason was that book, learning how to buy income that then buys your freedom. I mean, that's just something that's not talked about in school, and I don't know why,
well, we could talk, but that's a different type of podcast, I think. We can talk about why that happens, but it should be taught, those things. Especially, like, for example, like a family man like yourself, these things that I pick up from, like, these kind of things is something I'm going to tell my children. If they're, like, going to do something with it or not, I'm just going to tell them when they're, like, at that adolescent age, or even when they're young. Like, you can give them these habits, like these sales habits, these business habits, that they just don't tell in normal education, public education. Maybe in private schooling, but in public education, it doesn't pass a review.
100%. My daughter's gonna be 6 here in a couple months, and man, I've already started her on a lot of routines. Like, every day she lists gratitude, things she's grateful for. We already talk about like some of these things that want to set her up for success as much as we can.
Yeah, and it can also be quite playful. It can be fun. For example, if she sees you constantly having this much energy, one day maybe she'll ask like, "Dad, why do you have that much energy?" And you'll just say, "This is what I do." I say like, "I'm grateful for you," and stuff like that, and she'll be like, "Oh, okay, this is the reason of your power," and she will get something of it. All your other kids as well, so.
Man, you're going to be an amazing father just by saying that. I can tell, because this is the thing that I think all dads need to know is like, you don't just tell them, you model it. And then that's the change I've seen, like in my daughter. Like, okay, I asked her a week ago, what do you want to play, Tinley? Like, hey, it's a Saturday afternoon. Yeah. We got 4 hours. Mom's out with the boys. Like, anything you want to play, what do you want to do? And you know what she told me?
Yeah.
Let's go build a gym in the back and do circuits. And why do you think she says that, bro? Because she sees me doing circuits. We do them together. I let her pick her favorite songs. I make it really fun for her. And so, like when you model those behaviors that you desire, then your kids are, they're naturally going to take on to that,
Yeah, it's funny that you say that, Tyler, because when I was younger and when I picked up like new habits, I was one of those. I call it now, it's a little bit wrong, because you want to, how do you say, persuade people to come along with you. Like, let's say, for example, I suddenly start to become a churchgoer and I want to bring people to church. I was one of those people that it's kind of like you want to push your faith on them almost, but I'm talking about not faith like this, but like habits, habits,
yes.
Like those positive habits. But it's a little bit like unsolicited advice, nobody likes that. But what I did learn was that if you led by example, the things that I would talk about, if you showed it with action, for example, that marathon running that I did, and you just show it, then people will start to pick up their running shoes as well. They won't do the same thing that you do, but they will. And then I was thinking like, hey, there's some good shit. And then I just kept my mouth shut and just like showing the receipts, So
show the receipts. Yes, man. I'll fist pump to that one. I think that what you said right there is everything, man. I think that's what's, to be honest, a lot wrong with religion, even sometimes fitness, how some of these people go about it wrong. They're making fun of or yelling at somebody who's out of shape, or you shouldn't go about it that way, man. What you should do is live your life in a way where other people say, man, he's got a lot of energy. He's really happy. He's really
Yeah.
positive all the time. What's he doing that I'm not? And then they
Yeah, yeah.
internally ask themselves these questions, and then that leads to good opportunities to talk about it. Like
Yeah.
I tweeted a while back, but it
Mhm.
was like when I quit my corporate job, I stayed on part-time for a while.
Sure.
So I went to this brand new branch, and on day one, man, I wasn't the boss anymore. When I was the boss, we had no junk food. I wouldn't allow it. Like I wasn't having like a bunch of donuts in the office and a
Yeah,
bunch of
yeah, yeah.
junk.
That's pretty
I
dope.
want energy. I don't want that crap, you know. But
Yeah.
when I wasn't the boss, I couldn't control that. So every day I'd go into this new branch, and dude, there'd be donuts, cookies, chips, everything. And
Yeah.
all the other employees, except for me, would eat all this stuff all day. And they'd
Yeah.
always complain all day about, oh, it's only 11 o'clock. I hate this day. I can't wait till Friday. I can't, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
And bro, I'm in the break room doing push-ups on break. I'm like taking walks every day, and I'm never complaining. You know, it
Yeah.
doesn't matter if 50 grumpy people have come in. I'm still like, bring on the 51st. I'm in a good mood, you know.
Yeah.
And 5 weeks later, one of the guys came up to me who was like this 25-year-old guy, really overweight, and he just pulled me aside and he said, "Hey Tyler, like, I noticed you don't eat any of the bad food, and I noticed that you're doing different things than everybody else." And
Yeah.
he's like, I want to be in shape, and I don't really know what to do. Can you
Sure.
help me a little bit?
Yeah, yeah.
And that was my opportunity to talk about it. But if I had gone in on day one and said, "Put the donut down, you fatty. What are you guys doing? Get energy," you know,
Yeah.
like that wouldn't work. You know, like
Yeah.
you got to live it, show the receipts, and then people will come to you, whether that be faith, fitness, whatever that is, you know?
Yeah. That's pretty dope that you have those stories as well. Like, it's definitely one of those things that you learn the hard way, I think. You know?
Oh,
Yeah, because I have it like with girls. That's you said I would be like a good dad. Well, yeah, I think I have it because of with girls because there you cannot really tell them something. You have to like be about it, and then they're like, yeah, okay. Like for example, I'm quite like a calm person, and I always read a lot or read a lot of Zen shit or spout Zen stuff. And so, funny enough, at this girl's place, she had like a book. It was just in a closet. Was of somebody else, but so she was doing some studies or something, and I just picked it up, started reading it, just by myself. And so flash forward, the other day we were doing nothing, like just chilling in between, and just she picked up this book, started reading it, and then she started reading it out loud, just like how I did. uh,
That's so awesome, man.
and then I don't say anything, but I make like a mental note of it, and I smile a little bit because it's good, if it's a positive thing, it's good.
Yes, man. That's beautiful. And every day on Twitter, almost I get
Sure.
guys that will DM me messages like, "My wife doesn't do this," or I'm
Mhm.
unhappy in my marriage because of this or that. And I
Yeah.
always tell them the same thing. It starts with you. You've got to start modeling those behaviors. If you want your wife to work out, you got to work out a lot and make it fun, and
Yeah.
like, if you want your family to be really active, you've got to start planning the activities. You've got to do it first,
Yeah.
and then they'll come along. And I think that's awesome, man.
Yeah, like a big one is women are like a mirror. Women are like the moon, and men are like the sun. So they reflect what you do. So yeah,
Eh,
for these guys, yeah, sometimes it's a little bit they haven't been told it yet, or they haven't been
that's right.
burned yet a little bit. Like that story that you told me that you were married,
Yeah.
pre this, you had it,
Mm,
you had it happen to you. So you have like an almost like an subliminal, like a marker that goes off.
yes. It's very true. And even in the current marriage I'm in now, Annie's just like an amazing woman. But our first couple years of marriage, man, it wasn't great when we had our first child. Like, and I set the tone. And that's what I didn't realize for a while is, I'd be at a job that I didn't really like. And
Hmm.
I'm texting her all day, like, "Oh, this client sucks. I hate
Yeah,
my
yeah, yeah.
boss." And then so what's she doing? Like you said, she's reflecting back. She's telling me, "The kid is so challenging today. I'm not on a lot of sleep. This
Yeah, yeah.
sucks." And that was our relationship. And once I broke pattern, I decided, man, I'm not going to complain anymore. I'm going to choose to be high energy. I'm going to be positive all the time. I'm going to uplift her. Dude, now she does that to me every day. There's days now where like, dude, she just gives me life and she pumps me up and she's
Yeah.
like, "Let's do a plank challenge," like just
Yeah,
all
yeah,
good. That's how we roll now. But it started with me modeling that first.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I get it. That's pretty dope, man. Like, tell us a little bit about that corporate life, because what some people don't know, I hark on it as well, because I used to be engineer, but I didn't like it as well.
Ah.
So we can bond over that.
Oh man, so I mean, the first thing I'll say is being a professional poker player for 10 years before
Sure,
that. I mean, poker's eat or be eaten, right? Like,
sure.
if you're as good as you were at poker, 6 months before, you're not going to be winning. You have to constantly be getting better because you got other guys there trying to take your money every day too, right?
Yeah.
So that was my first thing. The first day I went into corporate, I'm like, these people just don't care. They're not trying hard. They're just complaining. They're like, it seemed like such a weird thing to me that they just showed up and got a paycheck.
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
like, it's
Yeah.
so foreign to my nature, you know?
Yeah.
So I think that's why I got promoted a ton. Like within 2
Ah,
weeks, I got promoted because, you know, I'm like, I want to get better every day. That's how I'm approaching like this job, you know, and then life essentially, you know, I just want to get better every single day, whether that fatherhood, job, whatever that is, you know. But it seemed like 99% of people in corporate did not approach it that way. And they just literally would show up and start complaining from the second they showed up. And then they'd go to Starbucks and, you know, they'd get a bunch of gross coffee, sugary desserts, and then they'd complain about an energy crash, and they'd order McDonald's and they'd complain about the after. And it's just, it was constant complaining. And dude, it was a very toxic environment, to be honest. And it, once I got to become boss after about 2 years and run my branch and had like 13, 14 people under me, I was really proud of that. I was able to change that tone a lot. By the end of my time at corporate, dude, I had 3 or 4 people working out with me every day at lunch. I bought a punching bag. We were and yoga mats and weights. We'd go downstairs during breaks and hit the bag and like do some hit type stuff. And you know, that's one thing I'm really proud of is changing that culture around. Like I was in banking and I don't really like banks, to be honest. I didn't care at all about like any of that stuff. But I kept getting promoted, I think, because like people liked working with me. I had that kind of energy. I wanted to see my colleagues be better, you know.
Yeah.
And maybe not even in banking, but just in their life, and that'll in turn make you better. You'll be better with customers if you're a happier person. You know?
Yeah. Reminds me of the time that I worked restaurants. I was the only one who got tips, and my favorite spot was not making the shit. Was standing behind like the cash register, taking the orders, and I would let all the other people make the food, but I would talk to like the customer, and that was the fun part, you know. And like, hey, you're regular. Hey, how's your day going and stuff like that. And that was the best part of my life actually, where I like unleashed a little bit more the extrovert side of myself, you know.
Yeah. You're very extroverted too, then I take it.
Yeah, it depends with the people, you know. I'm selective about that. For example, this is in my terrain, like it's for my channel. The people that know me, they watch it, you know. I know you. So but if it's a stranger, I have to vet them a little bit, you know. I am kind but not nice, you know. That comes with experience. How you like, it's a little bit like you can't pour from an empty cup kind of vibe. I have that in the back of my mind always, that my cup is first. And but a lot of people are quite draining, you know what I mean? Yeah.
That's what a big reason I wanted to get out of corporate too, because it is, yeah, I mean, you have to, I think I'm grateful for it because it made me develop all these habits and be so stern about them, because on days when I would go into corporate and I wasn't pouring into myself first, I would get defeated, you know, and I would, you know, but on those days where I would fill myself up first, then I could give energy to other people, but they were taking it a lot, you know, when you work with the public, when you work with bosses in that corporate environment, boy, you got to be mentally tough, you know.
Like for example, I can tell a story that's kind of funny. For the 9 to 5, like on Twitter, you have people who hate on 9 to 5, right? So this is like funny for them. But I got into like the cigar smoking habit, and the only cigar store in my whole city was a 15-minute walk away. So what I would do during the lunch break, to recharge, I would like even leave like 10 minutes, 15 earlier, and just walk there by myself, because everybody went to walk together or eat together or some shit. But I would then take the time to recharge, you know, go to the cigar store, walk back, and there was a cool thing about the office. We had like a top, almost like a penthouse kind of overview of the whole city. It was really pretty. So I used that to smoke a cigar, and I would take a cigar that would last 60 minutes. So and then I would come back like all nicotine up, like my brain was full of juice, and they would be like, "Bro, where were you?" And I didn't say anything to anybody. That went on for, it's like these alarm bells, you know, that I had to tell myself, you know, this is not healthy for you to, the corporate culture, the toxicity, and the energy, whatever, you know, it's not for everybody.
Yeah, it's definitely not. I again though, I'm grateful for my time there, and I think if you find yourself in the corporate world, like my biggest suggestion, I think yours too, would be like just start to get yourself out. Like find things you're really passionate about that you
Yeah,
can find income off. And then I was grateful because the thing about corporate is every 2 weeks you're getting a really nice paycheck.
sure.
So if you live way below your means, you can just use that to buy again other income and passive streams, and you can buy your freedom. I mean, now
Yeah.
I get to be hanging with you at 12:40 on a Tuesday, man, because like that corporate job got me to freedom. That's
Yeah,
pretty
yeah,
dope.
no. I know what you mean. I have the same thing. I like my freedom. Yeah, it's not about. I don't think it's about dicking around. It's about choosing what you can do about the day. For example, for me now, this is later in the day for me, but in during the day, I just did some marketing research for somebody that I'm working with. Then I knew this was gonna come, so it would be something of like the creation passion type of project aspect for Twitter. Some people listen to it, so that fused that domain in my life. And if it runs a little bit late for me, it doesn't matter. I don't have the alarm clock, so it's all good in my head as well. And that's what I like about my life as well. Yeah,
And I love that, man. Having the freedom to just work on things you're really passionate about is
yeah,
the ultimate gift to me. It's something I'm grateful for every day now because I still schedule my days, to be honest. Like
yeah,
I'm
sure.
I'm really regimented. I'm up at 5 and I'm morning routine and workout. And then I'm back home and I know I got a couple hours to pour in with my family. And then when they leave, I already know what I'm working on the day before. I even schedule in my walks every day, man. I
Oh
take a
yeah,
minimum of a couple walks every day, and I know what time I'm going to do those every day. And
yeah. For me, I used to schedule them as well. But have you noticed, for example, Tyler, that your circadian rhythm, it hits a certain sweet spot that you just automatically want to walk. So you look outside or something, and then you're like, hey, I need to get moving. If you're like on a constant walking schedule. So if you like schedule it 5 times in a week, then the next week, so when for me it's like during the afternoon, my circadian rhythm gets really like revved up. It's right before the workout. I start to want to go for a walk. Have you noticed something like this?
that's awesome. Yeah, I noticed mine that I kind of structure my day around like 2 hours of really hard focused work where my phone's out of the room and then I
Sure.
feel my brain getting fried when I'm done with that. And then that
Mhm.
I feel like my mind and my body's like, all right, it's time to recharge. It's time to
Yeah.
get outside. It's time to take your shoes off, shirt off, and go walk around the neighborhood and
Yeah.
get out and kind of re-energize, let that sun hit you and
Yeah.
revamp. So I've noticed that to a degree for sure.
Yeah. Actually, by the way, about that no shirt, I think the first guest. You're the first guest. But you did hit the HOOA podcast bingo card. Like almost on any podcast, there's like a substance abuse remark by the guest. So I wanted to actually, you were so in the story, but I want to hit like that's a bingo, like. But
That's funny.
you're
I,
like the first. Yeah.
I feel like we all go through, some of those times in our lives when we're just searching for things, and
Yeah.
for me it was, I mean, I could tell stories of, thankfully I never did super hard drugs.
Sure.
But I was drinking alcohol 6, 7 times a week at one point
Shit.
in my life, and yeah, just every day, man, going to
Yeah.
nightclubs 5 days a week, and just in stupid stuff looking back, But
Yeah. Yeah. You
grateful
learn.
that season of life is over, man. Yeah, this one's much better. And yeah, the shirtless thing, man. I asked if I came on. I'm like, dude, I go 3, 4 days at a time now without putting.
Yeah. You still there, man? It was a little bit frozen. Um, yeah, the reason I actually, how do you say, like, how do I say this? Like, people that I bring on the podcast, I have to have like a sort, like I said, almost like I vetted the person, like mentally. The other guests maybe didn't know this, but now they know. But for example, the first time, like I was like in a Twitter group with you, you posted one of your threads, and for most people, threads is to promote something of them, or
Yeah.
yeah, it's not that bad, but because the thread has value, of course. Don't get me wrong. But so I read your thread about your dad, and it was
Yeah.
such a powerful thread, or it was pinned to like the top of your profile, and it said a lot about yeah, you as a person through your father. So can you tell us a little bit about like what is his role in your life, or how do you see that? Like,
Yeah, I'm honored to, man.
yeah, sure.
My dad. Is it still lagging a little bit? Or are we good?
No, we good
Still good.
from
Okay.
my side.
There we go. Yeah, my dad's definitely my hero, man. He grew up with not a great childhood, to be
Sure.
honest. his mother passed when he was really young, maybe 13 or 14, and his father was a hero and served overseas in military, but came back and was struggled with a lot of things. And so my dad kind of raised himself, to be honest, for a while, and he got married to my mom at 18. But with his rough childhood, he had a lot of demons, a lot of stuff to go through.
Yeah.
And so when my dad was like 25, my mom actually left him for a little bit, and
Mm-hmm.
my dad was an alcoholic, a lot of problems. And the day I was born, my dad said he wanted to come back and raise his son and his daughter and be an honorable man. And he said, I'm never going to drink again. And he went like 35 years without ever drinking, you know?
Yeah.
And the thing I always remember about my dad as a childhood is, you know, he was always there. You know, we grew up somewhat like lower middle class. You know, we didn't
Sure.
want for anything, but we weren't rich by any means. You know, we had a good home and old cars, and you know, we didn't have the nicest of stuff, but my dad was always there. And like,
Yeah.
he was my coach in baseball, basketball, soccer. You know, I played football for a while. He tried to get on as the assistant coach. He didn't know anything about football, but he just always wanted to be there. And you know, my friends call him the legend now.
Yeah, I
Because
read that in the thread.
yeah, bro, it's like he still to this day is mentoring youth, like in our hometown, and coaching kids, and like he's just a good dude. You know, he wants to see everybody win too. And the example that he laid out for me, I tell him all the time, like, I want to continue to honor your legacy, you know, of the way you poured into me. And I want to raise my kids with that same way, you know. And so yeah, he's definitely my hero, man, and I'm so grateful for him. And then it's my mom, you know, was the catalyst for bringing him back, I think, because everybody in her family was telling her, leave him, he's a bum. And my
Okay.
mom refused to believe that, like, that couldn't be restored, you know, and her faith was
Yeah.
a big part of that. She started praying every day, and then lo and behold, man, they're going to celebrate their 43rd wedding anniversary here, you know, coming up. So it's a really good
Congrats.
love
That's good
story.
shit.
And
Yeah.
they're best buddies. They're 64 and they work out every day together, you know, and they live a good active life, man. So
Yeah.
just something that's good to carry on to my family as well.
Yeah. Do you feel like, especially like that parenting style of your dad, do you feel like they say there's like this thing they say in the ether that the first model for a relationship are your parents, you know, and also the relationship of your father in this case, how he parents you towards your children. How do you think that affected you? Or
Yeah, I think it goes one way or the other. Like for my dad, I think he saw the way that kind of his dad wasn't around. He
sure.
said his dad never went to one of his games or cross country meets or whatever
Hmm.
he was doing, you know, and he decided, I'm going to change that, you know. For me, it was, well, I had my dad model this, you know. And I'll be honest, man, like being a dad is just so fun. There's nothing more fun than being it. Like, dude, you know, I throw my kids around, I'm wrestling them, I'm playing with them, or forts. Like, it's just like
Yeah.
I create squirt gun fights. We have neighbors over. Like, it's literally so fun, you know. So like, I don't know, I don't get these dads that like don't want to be around for that. I don't understand that.
Hmm.
To me, there's literally nothing better than that. But I think my dad did set that example because he was always there, man. My best memories as a kid is, you know, we had a gym right across from our street,
Hmm.
and we would have 20 kids down from my high school. You know, even when I was like a freshman, dude, we had every kid, all these basketball team down. My dad would be cooking out steaks. He'd be like organizing all these games, you know,
Yeah.
like winter stays. He'd be like, you know, he's kind of just like a coach to everybody. And
Yeah.
you know, that's the kind of place we want here too, is, you know,
Yeah.
friends are always at our house, and you know, we kind of cultivate that same kind of energy and lifestyle, you know?
Yeah. That's pretty dope. So
Yeah.
like we talked earlier about like leading by example. So yeah, how do I say this? So he showed you lots of like lessons, but what do you feel is like one of the biggest lessons he gave to you? Like it could either be like he said it to you or you saw it, you know? How does it
The
look?
biggest one was, I remember when my dad was, and I was very, very young, and I remember hearing about it more than when it happened, but
Sure.
he got promoted pretty early in his career, a couple times. And then he was running this whole shop,
Yeah.
but he was gone. He was working 6 days a week, like 12 hours a day. And he made a choice to go work less and make less money and be home more. And I remember him, like, his nickname at work, he used to joke, was 355 Magnum, because his shift ended at 4, but he would not take a client past 355 because like he would always say, like, I'm gonna be home, like I'm a dad, I'm a husband, I'll bust my butt and I'll work as hard as I can when I'm at this job, but it's not my life. Like my life is at home. My
Yeah.
life is with my family. My life is in my passions and running and the other things that he was into.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of guys get that wrong, and especially in our Western culture society, they kind of teach you that like a good husband is a provider and he just makes infinite amounts of money and he's an ATM card and he just, and
Yeah.
my dad didn't really give us a lot of presents, but like he had presence in our family,
Yeah.
and
That's good.
that's what he taught me more than anything. And like I could have kept working my way up the corporate ladder. There's no doubt in my mind. I could be making $250,000 a year and living that life. But
Yeah,
dude,
yeah,
then
yeah.
I'd be answering emails at 10 o'clock at night, and I wouldn't really even be with my family the little time I got to be with my family. And I just don't want that kind of life.
Yeah, yeah.
And my dad really passed that on to me, and I'm forever grateful because I fist pump every day when I get up and work on things I get to love and be around the people I get to love and my
Yeah.
family, and nothing's more important to me than that.
Yeah, that was exactly what I want to hear. That was what I read in that powerful thread of yours. Like this man Tyler, he can write one of the most like heartfelt, with lessons kind of threads. Your threads are, I really like that because some people go about very meticulous and very organized to create a thread, but your threads are really like they're explosive, like a story.
I
I really,
appreciate that.
yeah,
Some of those threads I'll work on for a month at a time, man. I'll just craft a little bit here and there and try and add lessons into them, because I feel like the power behind Twitter and persuasion and when you're writing is like, it's really nice if people can see that you're doing well, but how can they apply that to them so they can do well? Like
yeah,
that's the thing, is I always want to try and teach in anything I'm doing. Like I'm writing one now about marriage and how
hmm,
we can, I was in a bad marriage and how we can turn
sure,
that around. And
yeah.
I'm not quite done yet because I want to teach other people how they
Oh
can apply
yeah,
some of those
I
lessons,
know exactly what you mean. Like, for example, I have a thread that has been laying cold about how to be Sherlock Holmes, actually. Uh, but how do you say, every time I see something, like, for example, I can share this like a funny, cool thing. Like, when a person wears a wristwatch on his right hand, there's a chance that he's left handed because it's awkward to put it like this for a right handed person? And all
Yeah.
these little things that I see during the day, I want to put in that thread, but that thread is now like ice cold, like ancient. But I know what you mean. No, because you
Yeah.
want to give on that topic. You want to teach them.
Yes. Yeah, exactly, man. You would be a fantastic poker player, Jeffrey. If you analyze life like that you would be a fantastic poker player, man. If you can use those clues and like, decipher with impartial information how to make good decisions, that's all
Yeah.
poker's about.
Funny that you say that. I have like a big metaphor of poker because when I was younger, I was really into World Series of Poker. It was a hit here around
Yeah.
2010. Used to watch all those videotapes. So I taped it, like a videotape for the old school people. It was really
Nice.
late here. I taped it and watched it the next morning. So I was really into that shit, like Texas Hold'em. Was that what
Yep.
you played as well, Tyler? Or
Yeah, I played the World Series of Poker main event like 4 times, five
oh
times,
shit,
something like
that's
that. So
cool.
yeah, I probably played against a lot of those guys that you watched on TV, to be honest.
Yeah, yeah. That's cool. No, but I have like a cool analogy that I like to use when you're talking to, well, it could be like in negotiation or deals and sales as well, but with women specifically, is that so in poker, you're first to act, right? Or second to act. So depending on that, you get to make a move. And it could be like text game, like first to act, you have to do like a, how do you call it? Like a probe bet or like a continuation bet, they call it.
Right.
And
Yep.
that's what I say. You have to say something, could be like a little bit garbage, just to test them out.
That's
And then
right.
she will either like call you, or will try to bluff you, or she will fold. Then you went a little bit overboard, or. So I like to use
Man,
that.
that's really good. I like that.
Yeah, I use that a lot for like newcomers, like who talk to women, but no poker. I'm like, yeah, it's easy. There
Yeah.
are only 3 moves. She can only call, fold, or raise. So
That's right. I love that, man. That's a really good analogy. That's very wise. I like that.
yeah, I was really into it when I was younger, but yeah, I
Man,
know.
well,
But
you come visit me in Vegas, man, and I'll I'll teach you some poker when you're here, man. We go play some low games and have fun.
that'd be fucking cool, actually. That'd be fucking cool. When I'm more,
Open
how do you
invite,
say?
brother.
Yeah, when I'm more, how do you say, like travel bound? Because these days with
Sure.
the registration. Oh, I actually was gonna come to Vegas. Yeah, every year I have this friend who invites me to Vegas, but then the Corona happened. I was gonna
Yeah,
come.
we're
So
pretty much on lockdown for a while now. Hopefully that's ending soon, but
so next time I'll send you a message and then we can hang.
nice, man.
Yeah.
I love that. I can even hook you up with hotel rooms, man, because I play a decent amount. And so I get free rooms pretty much all the time, man.
Oh, that's
So
dope.
give me a few weeks heads up, my brother, and I'll hook you up. I'll hook you up,
Thanks.
man.
Yeah, best friend. No. So I want to actually like continue on. Like you said, you got like lessons of like, for example, your father. Do you feel you have like how you create these like teaching lessons like as a thread for Twitter? Do you feel like you keep something how do you say, like reserved for your children? Not that you don't share this on the timeline, but do you make like a mental note? I'm gonna definitely like tell son, tell daughter, like that meme. But legit, do you have like something already in your head? Because they're quite young, I can imagine. But
Yeah, my daughter's 5 and almost 6, so my wife and I we communicate really well, and this is something that I've gained from Twitter too.
okay.
Fit founder, right? Dan
Oh yeah,
Go.
yeah, yeah.
So my wife and I's communication has probably leveled up 100 times because of him. Like we created a family vision board together on his proposal, and we hire a sitter every week, usually twice a week now. We
Sure.
take walks together and we talk about these things, what we
Yeah.
want to create as our life legacy, what we want to teach our children, pour into them. So we're constantly talking about this stuff. We've got notes
That's
on
good.
stuff that, hey, we want to make it a big point to hammer down these things for our kids. And I mean, our son's only 9 months, but we're already talking like, dude, he's got so much energy. He just like, he's just like this ball of energy. And we're like already talking about like, hey, if teachers try and say he's got too much energy and they want to put him on ADHD, here's how we're going to handle it, and
Yeah.
like, if we need to homeschool him, we'll do
Yeah.
that, and like we talk about a lot of these things and these lessons we want to pass on to him just to be prepared. I feel like that's a big part of life when you start living really intentionally. Me and my wife don't just talk about, well, what'd you do today? What did you take out the trash? Did you do the dishes? Nah, like, dude, I want to talk about real life stuff.
Yeah.
And that's been a big difference in our relationship over the last
Yeah.
couple of years. It's been huge.
That's cool. I didn't expect that answer actually, because I thought maybe you like, how do you say, like jotted down some like lessons or like these stories that you have. But it's really cool that you created this whole, almost like a life experience, like almost like giving a course, like giving a course, like yeah. But you know what I
To
mean?
me,
Yeah.
that's like, yeah, when I started, like, so I was like kind of a observer on Twitter for a couple months before I
Sure,
started
sure,
really
sure.
posting. I
Yeah,
followed like Cynthia Thurlow, Zach
yeah,
Hommel,
yeah.
Jack Colson, a lot of these people.
Ah,
And
Jack
then
Colson. Yeah.
I love Jack. He changed my life, man, with the pull-ups. I'm addicted now. I love that guy. His ebook was like $20. It's the best investment I ever made.
That's good.
Yeah, but like, one thing I really took away from like Zach Hommel, who's actually my coach now. I have coaching calls with him every now and then, and I love
Cool.
this guy. He just
Yeah.
pours life into me too. He said one time early on in one of our calls, like, hey, Ty, if you really want to be successful on Twitter, don't just tweet it. Like, live an awesome life and then share it. Like that's what you really want to do. Like it's anybody can tweet, lift weights, drink water, get in the
Yeah.
sun. All these things. Yeah, we can all
Drink
say
water.
it.
Drink water.
Bro,
1,000
like,
retweets.
you can, it's 1,000 drink water and you get 1,000 retweets. But like, to me, I always wanted to have a little bit bigger vision, and not there's anything wrong with that. I think that's awesome, people that still promote those really good, healthy messages. But like, I kind of really thought about it a couple months before I ever tweeted, and I'm like, what
Sure.
do I really want to bring to Twitter? What do I really want to try and convey? And
Yeah.
it's like, hey, I used to live this terrible life where I was miserable, and now I get to wake up and live this really fun life that I like, and it took a lot of hard work to get there. But I just want to share that journey and what that's about, and how other people can hopefully get there.
Yeah.
That's my whole purpose in it and around Twitter for me.
Yeah, I definitely like that because some people like, I think it was one of the guests, like his name was Way Budo Lewis. He tried to figure out like what my account was all about, and he said, "I think I know what your account is, like my account." He said like it's lifestyle. Then I said, "Oh yeah, that's a nice thing to try to catch everything into it, because I never had like a really premeditation behind it, but how you described it is a little bit how I wanted it. Like I wanted to travel, and if I were to travel, I'll show that. I'll write a
Yes.
blog story if people are interested in that. If I read like new Zen meditation, or if I'm lifting, any new diet shit, I share everything. If it can help somebody, I try
And
to
that's
use
amazing.
in a very well-rounded, yeah, non-linear fashion.
And I appreciate that a lot, because I think some people get stuck in that trap on Twitter, even in real life, where they put themselves in this box. Well, I'm the finance guy, so I'm never going to talk about anything else but finance. Like, you're more than that. You can be
Yeah.
whoever you want to be. So it's like, yeah, I have a lot of interest. I actually had a couple people tell me you shouldn't tweet about poker. they would come into my DMs and tell me, I'm only following you for fitness and fatherhood. And I'm like, bro, it's my content. Guess what? Now you're blocked, and you don't have the privilege of viewing my content. You know, I'm gonna post about whatever I'm doing. You know, like,
those are the worst accounts
like
actually. Like, I liked you better. I liked you better.
Yeah, dude. Go create your own life then, and start tweeting whatever you want. You know, like those accounts are just insane to me. Like, I can't imagine coming onto somebody else's like content and being like, you should do this more. Like, you know, I don't know. That's crazy.
But I like, but Tyler, I like that aspect, like you said, that boxlessness. Actually, like, that's one of my, like, not secrets, but something that has guided me throughout my whole life. Like, it came to me, like, not to be too stuck on one thing, to be very versatile, very dynamic. There are a lot of these built different kind of guys, these accounts now. I really, I just say, bless them because they show what you can become. Like, I'm talking about Kaz, Lobo, Log Fits, like really like cool dudes who can travel, they can lift, have like good dating lives, whatever. It was always what I had in my mind, but they showcase it really well. You know, this dynamic aspect of life that you cannot be like, you cannot just lift 24/7 weights. You know, who does that?
Right, exactly.
Well, some people do that, but that was never for me. My soul didn't catch on fire for that stuff. You know, I wanted everything basically. You know, so.
I 100% agree with you, man. And yeah, I think that's what's cool about our corner of Twitter too, that you've got people that are showing that you can win in all these different aspects of life, you know, which is cool.
Yeah, definitely. Because what some people don't understand is, especially when you're that well-rounded, that versatile, you're gonna get those type of clients actually, like, because they're gonna pick up on you because they like you more than the next cat. You know, they're thinking, hey, this is not a run-of-the-mill kind of dude. This dude has other shit going on. Like, they feel something. You know, they feel something.
Yeah, like I've put out like 32,000 tweets, and I think 2 of them have been saying that I do coaching. Like, I never advertise, and I've been booked on one-on-one clients now for 8 or 9 months straight at the max that I want without any advertising. I think that's because I just share my life and what I do and what wins, and people resonate with that more. Where I think if I just tweeted the same stuff over and over every day, not just what I was, lift weights, drink water, all these things, like, you're not really setting yourself apart there,
Yeah. Oh yeah. I had that question actually in my head, but I didn't write it down. But so, like, for new Twitter accounts or any like social media marketing, how do you stand out while maintaining your own voice? How do you see that going? Like, how do you maintain that balance? You know?
I mean, I'm crap at marketing. I'll say that, number one. Like, I mean, I have a newsletter, but it's just more for fun. Like, I've got a few hundred subscribers, and I just write whatever I want to write. I don't think about it too hard. I know I should focus on that more. As I kind of see the power in Twitter and social media and stuff, I've started to focus on it a little more intentionally and get around that. But I never want to lose the side of me that's just like doing this for fun. I like intrinsic versus extrinsic motivation, right? Like, I never want to be like, the day I'm like, oh, dude, I'm drained, I have to hop on Twitter, or I have to call this client. That's the day I won't do it anymore, to be honest. I don't think that day will ever happen, because like, it just, Twitter fires me up. My timeline, when I see guys like you, when I see other guys putting out these threads, these tweets that are making me better, that's awesome. That gives me life. When I get to coach clients and I see men go from, dude, me and my wife haven't had sex in 2 years, to 4 months later, now they're getting fit. Them and their wives are better than the honeymoon. They're a better dad. They're, like, that gives me fire and energy in life, And so it's, to me, I have a guy that I coach that's a poker client. I have a guy that I coach that's just in fatherhood. I'll do these different realms because I'm not in the box.
That's dope.
I don't just do one thing.
Yeah, that's pretty dope. Yeah. No, I actually, how do I say, that's a recurring theme that I've spotted through all my guests. I asked them, how's it going a little bit with like differentiating themselves from people who look like them, for example, like, I can imagine your name Tyler is a Western name, for example. There may be like hundreds of other Tylers. How do you differentiate? And everybody has a little bit a similar answer that you've just given. Like, don't try to be boxed in, speak your own voice, speak your own mind, and just stay true to yourself. And yeah, but definitely that, how do you say, that playfulness, that fun that you have, that what I really liked. That's what's really dope, that I got you on video actually. People gonna love that. But yeah, it's, if you're not showing up with energy on the timeline, people, some people do it really well, Like they have a very like a team page or something, and you don't,
Yeah.
how do you say, don't necessarily feel the energy. So it's not really unique, but it's well constructed, you know. But
Yeah.
if you're going to be somebody like you that you just described, that you want to integrate it with your own life and tie it to how motivated you get, yeah, I completely relate. Like if I were not to get fired up anymore, you know, I would think like, fuck this shit, throw my phone away, you know.
Oh yeah, I just wouldn't do it, 100%.
Yeah.
But
I
yeah,
jotted. Yeah, go on. What do you want
oh
to?
no, go for it.
Yeah,
You go.
no, I jotted down this question actually. I like, so you were talking a little bit about your father's father, basically your grandfather, you know, and a little bit how that affected your dad, you know. Do you feel, yeah, you mentioned, I don't know if you mentioned the word demons, but it triggered me. But like, do you feel the demons of your father played a role in your demons? It's this theme that I've identified with a lot of men, I think myself included, is that the sins of the fathers gets somehow transcribed to the next generation. What's your take on that?
100% agree. Yes. My dad was an all or nothing person for
Mhm.
most of his life. And then I was an all or nothing person for most of my life. And if I was going to go have one beer, I was going to have 37 beers, and like, that's just, I think I took that from his personality. I think my dad has a pretty addictive personality.
Yeah,
And I also have a very addictive personality. So, I used to be addicted to chasing women, to
mhm.
flashy stuff, to parties and nightclubs, and now I'm just addicted to honestly studying Jesus and my wife and my kids and fitness, and I've
Yeah,
just chosen my addictions differently, but I think I'm
yeah,
always going to be addicted to things. But yeah, I think my dad struggled with alcoholism, his dad struggled with alcoholism, I struggled with it for a period of time. um, I definitely agree with that, man, and that's why I'm really intentional as I start to raise young children about,
sure.
they're watching what I do all the time. Like they're literally watching how dad acts and responds to everything. And so if I'm not really trying to better myself every single day and wake up with that, my kids are going to see that and they're probably not going to do that either. So I feel like as the man of the house, that's my responsibility. That's my duty. And I think my dad took that really serious, and that, I think that's why a lot of the reason I turned out the way I did, and
Yeah,
and I take that role very serious. And that's why,
yeah.
man, when the alarm goes off at 4:55, I don't feel like getting up. It doesn't matter if I feel like getting up.
Hmm.
I know I'm going to go better myself so that when my family wakes up, I can pour into them. It's
Yeah,
like you said earlier, if you're not filled up, you got nothing to pour.
yeah, yeah. So there's a difference with like being just motivated and driven. What you have is like a true purpose, actually. Like a, yeah,
Mm.
like a patriarch leader. Like you step up, you know, and that gives a whole nother different feel. Like,
Yes. I tweeted that a while back. I'm not very motivated a lot, but I'm extremely driven.
yeah,
Every single day I'm very driven to move forward, keep going. Some days, man, you don't feel it. That's just life. I don't
yeah,
I don't always feel like doing these things, but I
yeah,
know what I need to do and I have a big why behind it and a big purpose behind it.
yeah, yeah, yeah. But I really like that. That like that your father and now you take almost like the first step to like countering the generational curse that I talk about. You know, because in an
Mhm.
alternate timeline, one can imagine that it keeps going. You know, so
You
that's
you
really,
see that
yeah,
so often, man. I
yeah,
mean, it's sad, but it's like, I think if you grow up in a family where like mom and dad smoke, you're like
sure,
400 times more likely to smoke too. Or
yeah,
if mom and dad are an alcoholic, you're like, so much more likely to be an alcoholic. I mean, you see that all the time, and it takes that one person. That's why I'm so grateful for my father that he just said one day, I'm never going to drink again, and I'm going to be home. I'm going to be a good dad, because I
yeah, yeah,
can't imagine my life if he didn't. I mean, my dad grew up like, dude, telling some of the stories when he was a kid, he was in fights constantly. I mean, he says if he had gone on that trajectory, he'd be in prison.
yeah, yeah,
So like, I'm just so grateful that he chose that.
yeah.
And I think that goes to show anybody can pump the brakes at any point in their life and choose to go a new direction. It's not easy, it takes a lot of work and a lot of discipline, but you can do it. Any single person can do that.
Yeah, yeah, that's good. Good advice to people listening. But it's also interesting. What I caught was like almost like how the story of your father, that at one point when he like pumped on the brakes and decided to make a change, like a switch, is also kind of mirrored or reflected in your story. That I just caught the similarity there a little bit.
Mhm. Yeah, I would agree with that. And my dad had talked to me quite a bit when I was going through those really rough patches. My dad and I were still good friends, and he would
Sure.
talk to me a lot about some of the decisions I was making. And of course, when you're 27, 28, you don't think your dad knows anything. So you kind of tell him, I'm my own man. I'm going to do it my own, And, you hit a certain age of life and you realize he did know a lot what he was talking about. And I can
Yeah.
learn a lot of these things from him. And, for me, a big catalyst for that was I started journaling a lot. And
Oh. Mhm.
really understanding, getting to know myself, like why I was choosing these self-destructive patterns all the time,
Yeah.
like really getting to know that. And it's funny because in college, man, and in high school, I never wrote any papers. I copied them all. I would
Yeah.
take, I told myself I hated writing. And now,
Yeah.
man, I think it's been like 3.5 years. Every single day of my life, I write.
Yeah. Yeah.
Whether 5 minutes, sometimes an hour, sometimes I write every single day and get really introspective with myself and want to
Yeah.
get to know myself better. And
Yeah.
I think that's a big thing for people.
Yeah, definitely. Like that's a big thing on this podcast. My timeline, like journaling, gets boosted a lot, almost like a meme. But it helps. No, no, but it helps because the other day I just filled a whole whole new journal, 160 pages. It's
Nice.
I don't. It's one of those things that even if you were to showboat it, it has no value. It only has value for me.
Yes.
And this morning even I was like reviewing, like, because this one is from 4 months back, so I wanted to see what I was still fucking up on 4 months
So
later.
smart.
So I was
Yeah.
just flipping through some pages, so like, oh wait a minute, I'm doing this now. So there was like a plus, or hey, why
Yeah.
am I doing this? So journaling, yeah, it helps, man. Yeah,
You just literally gave the secret and the life hack right there, man, that people want to know is when you journal these things down and your goals and you write them down, if you just talk about them, it's kind of a daydream,
sure, yeah.
but once you write them down and then you
Mhm.
go back and audit them, that's what it takes.
Yeah,
That's how you keep moving forward, keep getting better all the time.
yeah. Yeah,
That's awesome.
I have a friend. His name is Leon Castillo. He used to be a venture capitalist, and he has like this system that you structure your year. So he told me some tips, and so subconsciously I know when the quarter Q1 and Q2 are coming. I have to do these audits. What you tell me.
Yep.
So we're almost at halfway point of the fucking year.
It's
So,
crazy.
for example, if I'm not fitter than at the beginning of year, I fucked up. But then I have the
Mhm.
rest of the half of the year or whatever, because I truly believe in that 1% better every day. So if you're not
Yeah.
feeling it, yeah, at least do some fucking push-ups or go for a walk, like
Right.
active recovery. I tell myself then, just go for a
Yep.
walk or do some fucking yoga. I always
Today's today's my rest day, and I did 60 pull-ups out in the garage a couple hours ago. I did about 15 minutes of stretching, and I'll do 6, 7, 8 miles of walking.
yeah,
It's a great day.
that's good. And then like what's really dope, I would then like in my journal would write down like there was pull day, then I transition next day I have to do some legs or whatever. So yeah,
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 that's
but
awesome. You probably got super strong legs from all your running.
oh, I have this thing though that I could never break the 7 kilometer barrier. And then I listened to some David Goggins videos. That's actually true. It was almost like fake, but do you know that David Fosby guy who can go with his back over that, like that Olympic? Do you know that Olympic activity where you have to like have a pole and go over?
Yeah, pole
I
vault,
don't know what it's called. Like, you know what I mean?
pole vault, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Like you have to
Yeah.
jump, but everybody goes
Yes.
through it like in a weird way, right?
Yes.
Before there was one dude, everybody did it with their face towards, and there was this one dude. He said, "No, you can actually jump higher if you do it with your back." And they said, "Nah, man, that's fucking bullshit." And then he broke all the records, and then now everybody does it like that.
That's awesome.
It's
Wow.
this mimetic model, this symbol, this story that once you see it, there's more to the human potential. And I think that was David Goggins was a catalyst for me. Like he has this like very zened out voice actually. Like yeah, I'm running in the Mojave Desert or whatever, So like, you know, I still see
Yeah.
the video to this day. But there was this one day I decided to run more than 7 kilometers. So, but I doubled it on the same day. Then I really hurt my knee, and I couldn't walk for like 2 weeks or maybe even like a couple months or something. But after I came back, I can always run like long distance from now on. I know
Wow.
I don't know what happened. Like I hurt my knee or something, but I have now at least the mental, like that push, I know, keep pushing,
Yeah,
pushing. So
nice.
but I
Yeah,
actually,
Goggins is such a beast.
yeah, I actually want to talk about that, like that awareness aspect, that introspection of the journaling. You brought it
Mm.
up, actually, we're in sync. I was thinking it, like like how do you feel like you can mitigate your demons? Like they talk a lot about like shadow integration. uh, like journaling of course plays a big part in it, but how would you tell like a young man to go about that, like if they've never heard about journaling and they have a lot of demons, or what's your take?
I think that two things. I mean, one, journaling helps because you just got to get to know yourself, right? And
Sure.
you don't really get to know yourself. Most of our life, we just go through on autopilot, you know. And until I really started journaling is when I really started getting intentional and asking myself the right questions was a big, big thing. And everybody needs to do that. Once you start journaling, that comes naturally, where you just start asking yourself, well, why am I doing these behaviors? Let me write about it and figure that
Yeah.
out, you know. And I feel like that's such a big thing. And then I think on top of that, the spoken word is so powerful.
Mhm.
The way we talk to ourselves in our mind and
Sure.
even our physical words.
Yeah.
And so,
Internal
if,
dialogue. Yeah.
yes, if you're a big man, you're a young man or any man, you know, any age, you can start to reprogram your brain like that too. So, and like I said, for about a year and a half, I woke up every day and I was kind of a crappy husband at this time, but I would tell
Mm.
myself, looking myself in the mirror, I'm a great husband. I'm a great father. I will give my wife the benefit of the doubt. I will be
Yeah.
the man that I'm supposed to be. You know, Tinley's a blessed child of God. I will pour into her and I will teach her more than she'll could ever imagine. You know, I'm a man of integrity. I have discipline. At that time, I had no discipline, you know, but I just keep telling myself these things over in that internal dialogue. And then once you start doing that, you start to believe it. And then you start journaling these things of who you want to be. And once your mind matches your fear, your faith and your spirit and your words, and all three of those things align, I kind of feel like you become unstoppable at that point. It doesn't matter what comes up. You're going
Mhm.
to find a way over it, around it, through it, whatever that may, you know, whatever it takes. So I
Yeah.
think
That's.
once you,
Mm.
that's what you got to get is your mind to align with your words and align with your faith and your why and your big reason, you know?
Yeah. That's dope. That was one or two at the same time. You said one and two.
one and one A.
Yeah. But when you journal, do you have a template or you just free flow? Or
Never have a template, man, ever. And I think I'm a little unique in that, but like, yeah, wherever it goes that day. I do the gratitude journal every day, so that's a staple. And then
Mhm.
beyond that, it's wherever it goes, it goes. Some days I
Yeah.
just write about marriage. Some days I write about poker. Some days I write,
Yeah.
I mean, just anything I want to write about that
Yeah.
day.
That's pretty dope. I do that as well. I just keep one open besides my working desk, and then
Yeah,
whatever you feel like writing, like it's your unconscious talking to you, then you just
exactly.
pour it out. Yeah.
Yep, that's beautiful because we have like, what is it, like
Mhm.
45, 55,000 thoughts a day,
Yeah,
and
yeah, yeah. You think
it's
a
so
lot.
healthy
Yeah,
to
yeah.
get
Goggins
that
says
stuff
that a lot
out.
as well. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, it's so healthy to get that stuff out, you
yeah.
know?
It is. Yeah, I like the word selection that you use, the audit,
Mm,
because if you write them down, you can actually visually see. Because some people think more visually. So if they're seeing basically the audit of like the negativity or the positivity that's coming out of their mind, they can then you can start to really make, like you can mold it, to your own hand a little bit.
yeah,
Yeah, that's pretty dope. Yeah,
I
and
love that.
yeah,
I resonated with what you said before that too about how
sure.
quarter one, quarter two, you're kind of going back and auditing these things. And then I always say, like, you're the CEO of your life, right?
Yeah,
And so that's what companies do. They look back from month to month. How did we do? From quarter to quarter, how did we do? And so you should be doing that in your own life too, whether it's, you know, if you don't measure it, you're not going to win at it. So relationships, finances, fitness, you know, all these things that you want to win at, you got to measure them and you got to go back and be honest with yourself.
yeah,
And again, ask yourself those right questions.
yeah. Like there's a famous management quote that says, "What gets measured gets managed."
Yes.
And my good friend Leon Castillo had a cooler one that I liked. Is what gets measured gets mastered. And amongst like the clients that we have, or like the guys on Twitter, I say that to them all the time. Like, how are you gonna like self master yourself if you don't know what's the input, what's the outputs? Like with fitness,
Yes.
or you have to know, yeah, what your receptors are. Like, what are you thinking? And but
Yes.
what they don't like, what people some people don't know about me is that this journaling thing, I've gotten like more, how do you say, detailed, or I journal different aspects now compared to 7 years ago. I've been doing this a long time, but
Nice.
some people like comment, isn't it icky to read like an old version of yourself? But then I say that's exactly the point. That is the point. You read something and there's kind of something like icky, like, yeah, that was kind of dumb or whatever. But that's the point. You can see, oh, hey, wait, I outgrew this actually now. You're
Yes.
laughing with yourself.
And that's the greatest part of life, in my opinion. I mean, if I'm still the same dad and the same husband and this, the same fitness level, the same finances, the same poker player, all these things that matter to me, if I'm still the same in a year, I'm failing.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's good. You should go back and cringe every now and then. Like I mean, that's part of the growth process. I love
Yeah.
that.
It's a key heuristic actually. If you do not cringe when you look back, then you haven't actually grown. Like that's a
Yes.
powerful tweet I saw a lot. So now that we're talking about habits, like, is there one thing that you have to do during the day to make your day successful? Is it this gratitude thing, or do you have
Yeah.
something extra?
I
Like,
would say gratitude's the number one thing for
sure.
me. I've done it, I think 1,055 days in a row, something like that now.
How many days did you say? A
A,
year?
1,000 days, like over 3 years.
Three
Yeah, I'm
years?
over 3 years. I start every day with that, and it
Yeah.
just programs my mind to see the good.
Yeah.
And I really love that. But then
Yeah.
also movement, some
Movement.
form of movement, even on
Sure.
rest days. It's so our bodies are designed to move.
Yeah,
It's
that's true.
people wonder why they get so much anxiety, man. It's you
Yeah.
wake up, you stare at your phone for a half an hour, you eat a crappy breakfast, you go sit at a cubicle for nine
Yeah.
hours, you don't
Yeah.
move,
Yeah.
you go
It is
home
very
and you
unnatural posture. Yeah.
oh dude, and then you sit on your couch and you watch TV and then you lay in your bed and go, it's like, dude, you wonder why people have all these problems, anxiety, all this stuff. You need to move.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
those are the two things that I'm going to do every single day for sure, no matter what.
Yeah, that gratitude thing. I think it was from Tim Ferriss or Tony Robbins. He says you have to be really specific in these gratitude kind of things. Like, for example, my mom makes the best hot lava cake or something. Do you have like a specific way to go about it, or?
Bro, I get weird with it because after like 3 years, you don't want to write the same stuff. So like, dude,
Yeah,
I have things in there that are like, I'm just so grateful that my fingers are all connected and the joints and the bone. Like, you know how amazing it is that you have 3 trillion cells in your body, like,
yeah,
and
yeah,
they're
yeah. I
all
get that.
working together. Like that's
Yeah,
amazing. I'm grateful that my daughter and I got to, it's a lot about my life still. My daughter and I, like, she whispered in my ear a week ago, like, I love you so much, Daddy, and gave me this big hug, and like,
yeah, yeah,
dude, you know how grateful I am for that? I'm grateful that my wife, like, is the greatest mom in the entire world. She pours into our family. She
yeah,
she makes my meals at the beginning of every week. She's
yeah.
like she's the greatest. Like
Yeah, yeah,
I just have so much to be grateful for. I'm grateful for my phone, my clients, I could go on for the mountains, the sun, the beauty of nature that I get to
yeah.
go on these walks. It's
That's cool. Yeah.
I talk about like not being put in a box too, and it's
Mhm.
I'm a Christ follower, I'm a Christian, very devout, but dude, like once a month, I pop an edible and I walk all around in nature, dude, and I
Yeah.
just write down like I'll write gratitude letters, I call them, where I just write to people and tell them how thankful I am for them, and
Oh yeah, I used to do those. Those are really dope. Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, it's awesome, man. And to me, it's just like my heart over. When you really think about life, like how amazing it is, what a gift it is, the odds for you to even be here,
Oh yeah,
like
yeah.
it's legit just amazing, bro. It's hard to not wake up and be pumped up about that,
Yeah. No, that's definitely like good for people to hear because there's this weird thing that when you say to, especially people who are lower on the energy scale, if they're like in a rut, and then you say, just write some, like, do some grateful gratitude journaling or something. Then they're like, they always say, or at least 99% of the time, what should I be grateful for, or something like that. No, but then
Yeah.
you can see a little bit that they're going through a little bit like a downer spell. But hearing from somebody like you and like, yeah, but there must be something. It's because they're constantly comparing. That's different.
It's
Like
true.
99% of the people that I meet are taller than me, for example. Not once have I thought in my life like I should, yeah, when I was younger, but in these days, I don't give a fuck anymore. Like.
Right. Yeah.
But I just then think I'm grateful now that I'm quite tactical. Then I think, oh, okay, then I'm shorter now means I have the advantage at calisthenics. I don't get that
Yeah.
tired at long distance running because my body, there must be some biometric going on. Then I see like the advantages of it. And yeah, of course, I'm not that tall, for example, but it's about aiming at the positivity, what you just mentioned, and really priming and programming yourself every morning what you've been doing for like all these years, that yeah, people have to keep at it, and it's good to hear these stories. That's it. Yeah.
Yeah, because I think we kind of choose our own reality, right? Like
Yes,
a
definitely.
big one for me was like I used to get so pissed off when I'd travel and go to work, and I'd be sitting in traffic for like 30 minutes, right?
Oh
And
yeah.
I would hate it, And then I changed my mind and my thought patterns and my programming to think, how cool is this? This is such a gift. I get to put on awesome music. I get to freaking dance in my car. I get to pray out loud. I get to,
Yeah.
I get to have some quiet time if I want to do that. Like it's such a gift. Now, it's the same exact situation. I'm still stuck in traffic, but my
Yeah.
mind is different. And that's anybody can choose. It takes work again. Like we train our muscles at the gym. You can train your mind like that to see the good, see the positive.
Yeah, during my 9 to 5, there was this city that I had to go to. It was really far. Door to door, it was like the commute 2 hours, and I had to go by train, no car. And it was a little bit distant location. But then I thought, oh, it's a good opportunity to catch up on my favorite thriller novels. Then,
Yeah.
yeah, then I thought, oh, okay, read up on this shit. And I really enjoyed the trip then because I was reading my favorite book, actually. And that was also for me something to look forward to when I went like, fuck the whole work day. But then I thought, wait, I'm gonna read my fucking book. So for some reason, then time is not linear, and then
That's the best, man. Yeah, same reality. You're still traveling to work, but just a different mindset, different viewpoint.
yeah, definitely like yeah, perception is it's not the truth actually, but reality is what you make of it because reality is
Yes.
just there actually, with or without us actually.
Yes.
And that's a powerful, yeah, I think like a big motive or like a theme throughout this whole episode is that it's all mindset. You're not everything is mindset because you have creator, the cosmic energy and stuff like that, but definitely how we operate through life, like your mind decides all, like they say that.
Everything. Yep. I agree with you 100%. And by the way, I got like 2 minutes left, and I got to go pick up my daughter from school.
And then
Sorry,
the
man.
last two, I all really want to say what's going on for a good time, man. I asked everything that I wanted. So for last part, the floor is all yours, man, Tyler.
Well, man, I would just end it with even more gratitude, brother. That Jeffrey, I appreciate you, what you bring every day, man. I love our community so much that we've built around this. I hope that somebody can listen to this and maybe get a takeaway or two to better their lives.
Yeah.
I think that's why we're all here, man, to make each other better. And I think it's really cool, like Twitter, the space we're in. It's like such a unique place in the world. That little corner we were talking about. That like nobody really competes, man. We want everybody to win.
Yeah.
And that's the coolest thing to me, and I'm just grateful to be a part of that every day. I'm grateful to be a part of this too, man. So thank you so much for having me on, brother. I
Yeah.
appreciate it, and I
Thanks for
hope I
coming
see you
on.
in Vegas in the next year, man.
There was a live like invite on this, so yeah. Thanks for coming
Dude,
on, and
yeah,
for people listening, thanks for tuning in. Like, subscribe, spread the word. HOOA.
I appreciate this, brother. Thanks.